I'm going to be doing the Townshend axe, and to start off, the clip art on the left just shows the introduction of text on T, and the dialogue in the art pretty much means that it caused a huge distress on the Bostonians, and it really showed that the American colonists hated this tax, which will then lead to major historic events later on. So for my intro slide, I'm going to talk about what the Townshend acts are. And pretty much they are a series of acts that were by Charles Townshend. And these acts were then passed by the British Parliament on June 29th, 1767. And what it did was it put taxes on many goods that Americans use daily, and they saw this as an abuse of power, which then resulted in limited imports from Britain. For my secondary source, it explained how the Townshend Acts caused major events like the Boston Massacre in 1770, the Boston Tea Party in 1773, and the American Revolution in 1775. Also, it included the tea tax, and it was a very notorious tax that many Americans knew about, and it irritated them for over 8 years. So, this is a valuable source because it shows how much the Townshend Acts had really impacted the Americans in a very unfortunate way. And it was so bad that the colonists agreed to protest against the Townshend Acts, and they tried to make the British Parliament repeal the acts. For my primary source, it shows a list of all the taxes that were put on very specific things. For example, one would be for every ream, which was 500 sheets of paper, that were called Atlas Ordinary, it would cost 6 shillings. Or another example would be for every ream of paper that was called Blue Royal, it would be 1 shilling and sixpence. This went on for 30 or more, but with different names and different costs. So this is a valuable source because it shows how the Americans could easily get angry over the huge amount of taxes that they had to pay. For my scholarly article, it really focused more on the intellectual and moral side for the American colonists, and it's a valuable source because it explained how the colonists were able to survive in an intellectual and moral attitude throughout the British influence. For example, colonists could stay calm with the help of Thomas Paine's famous pamphlet, Common Sense. And it helped them because of his simplistic writing that could easily be translated by the Americans. So, to wrap it up, the colonists had to endure through many tough times with the British occupying them, and it was the Townshend Acts were one of the factors that had caused the major events like the Boston Massacre and the American Revolution. But in the end, the Americans were able to get through the British impacts.